This is not something small. I can tell you that right now. It's definitely not. Now, if you remember, I anticipated this maybe 2-3 years ago when I was talking about, if you remember, those of you who've been around long enough, I said the bank coin companies would congeal. They would come together. They were stronger together. And it makes more sense. The legacy financial system is like that, where they all have come together. What do you think SWIFT is? All these other different bodies that they have. Multitude of banks and financial systems and businesses as well coming together. It just makes perfect sense that the bank coin companies would eventually do this. And on top of that, I knew that there would be, because they all specialize in something different, they would be able to dominate. Absolute domination if they do that. Some of them specialize in smart contracts. They're just more advanced than others. Some are cross-border payments, various types of payments. Some QR code, offline QR code payments, they have that specialty as well. All of them, specialize in something different. That QR code, that offline QR code payment is something that people better pay attention to as well. If you remember in last year, 2024, we read a document from, I believe it was the Bank of International Settlements, where they were talking about their interest in offline QR code payments. So that could be something major right there. My apologies. Something got in my eye. That could be something. But now let me circle back around to this here. OK, let me not get too far off base. That all leads me to this. This article is about Charles Hoskinson. It's an interview. Charles Hoskinson is talking about now being friends and, they're pretty much partners. They're partners with Ripple, Cardano and Ripple. People, and haven't I been talking about this? And I've been pointing out all these connections that are being made between these Bitcoin companies. Now, let me point out a few. Look into this. If you don't know, look into this, because I'm telling you, this could result in a lot more value coming to these utility coins, period. And now we're entering the era of actuality. We're entering an era where things can be done, where before they couldn't be done, which is why we're seeing all of this manifest now. You have Cardano now working with Ripple separately, and a lot of people aren't looking at this and discussing it enough. Separately, you have Theyre working with Ripple. They said they're going to. So let's just strip it down to its essentials. You have Garlinghouse, you have Hoskinson, and Lehman Bear specifically. They all want you to know, just like he says here, he says, Charles Hoskinson, that is, says he has a direct line of communication with Garlinghouse. That's one connection. That's a major connection. We'll get into why in a moment. 2, Garlinghouse and Lehman Bear of Theyre have a direct connection now, a direct line to each other. They said that they're going to work on projects together in the future. Now, is that a guarantee? No, of course not. Well, maybe, there's many variables in life. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but that's what they said. That's 3 of the major utility coin companies, and all of them have been active. And then once again, I can't remember off the top of my head, what was that thing that Ripple had going with Chainlink? There was some kind of interaction that happened. Now that I'm a little bit more muddy on, but I'm clear on the Cardano, Ripple, Theyre team up that's happening. There will be more. Look how active Theyre has been. Have you been keeping up with that news? Look how active Cardano has been. And those personalities alone, these are brilliant people. Lehman Bear, absolutely brilliant. They're working on something big. So that's what we have to get to. What is it they're planning? Why is it that now, of course, with the new energy that has been heaped upon crypto, we're entering a golden age. We're entering something new. Of course, everything's looking great. I get that. So I'm taking that into account. Okay. But there's many things that Brad Garlinghouse could have said. He specifically wanted to go at the neck of Swift. He specifically wanted to discuss their or reinforce their desire to, quote unquote compete with Swift. Although once again, I want to reiterate, I feel like that's just a negotiating mechanism. Put a little pressure on Swift, show them you're superior over the next year or two. That brings them to the table. And then maybe they have to work with you. They work with Chainlink. He could have discussed many different things that are hot for crypto right now. AI. Everybody wants AI. The financial industry wants upgraded AI. They don't want what they currently have. What they were experimenting with was great. No doubt about it. But it had flaws. As we read about the complaints, we read about it. There was a lot of flaws going on, and they simply cannot have that in the financial industry. So it was a good experiment, a good first outing, that whole first wave of AI. No, they want the upgraded AI that's closer to AGI, artificial general intelligence. And they want it in combination with DLT. They've also made that clear that those two technologies go together and they're going to rise together. My apologies for hitting the microphone. He could have spoken about that. He could have spoken about real world asset tokenization. He could have spoken about B2B. That's trillions. He could have spoken about that. No, he spoke about Swift. Wait. If you're going to compete with such a system as Swift, even though it has been weakened, they weakened themselves for sure. They were utilized as a weapon. A lot of countries don't want Swift anymore. A lot of entities don't want to utilize it anymore because they know it can be wielded against them. So yes, it is in a weakened state. Not only that, but their technology is dilapidated, antiquated, old. Their thinking is rather anachronistic. You have all of that. So but still, they're still a force. They're still a force to be reckoned with, right? If you're going to take them on, sure. Is Ripple strong? XRPL strong? Sure. Could they go against Swift just by themselves? I believe they could. I do. And I think they'll dominate. I do. But what if, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this on YouTube. The way I was going to phrase it, it will not fly on YouTube for sure. If you're going to take on such an opponent, why not ensure the victory? So what I'm saying is, instead of taking them on by yourself, why not bring Cardano on board? They have some great technology. They have ambitions also. A little gray hair. That always throws me off. I have to get used to it. Just bear with me. Okay, bear with me. When I see it, I'm like, wait, do I have something on my lip? Nope, that's a hair. Look at that. That's a hair. But it's still on camera. I see that, and it's like, I'll adjust over time. Don't worry about it. Actually, not gray hairs. I actually have, these are actually white hairs. Like, they're not even gray. It just skipped over gray, went straight to white. Anybody else have that happening? I love it, but I got to get used to it. But Cardano has ambitions to be the security layer. This is what he said, Charles Hoskinson, the security layer for the financial system. Really? And what are you cooking up that makes you believe you can do that? You clearly know something that we don't. But that's one aspect. So you put them, this powerhouse that is Cardano, with their smart contracts, also very great, with everything Ripple's cooking up, and then you take Hedera, add them into the mix with everything that they do. We know that their transactions per second are out of this world. Although they're DLT as well, they're not blockchain. Hashgraph is far superior. They're bringing muscle to the table. And they're bringing a bunch of partnerships to the table. They're bringing that whole governing council to the table. That hasn't even come into effect yet. Or not effect, but that hasn't even come into relevance yet, but it will. And it didn't come into relevance before. That doesn't mean write it off. You have to look at what's actually happening. It didn't come into relevance before because you had all of these regulatory issues. Well, now they're gone. So things are not going to happen overnight, but give it some time and things are going to happen. Do you believe that all of those powerful entities are on that governing council for nothing? No, they had to hold back. They had to hang back. A lot of companies did that during the crypto dark ages. That's what I'm going to call it. The dark ages, where all the regulations, everybody was against us. FDIC was against us. You see what the FDIC did recently? You've been keeping up? Get that members only section. Look at the posts. Look at them posts, not just the videos. Look at the posts. I'm telling you, you're going to see some significant stuff right there. But anyway, everybody was against us. So a lot of entities pulled back. We saw the banks pull back. Well, they were forced. They wanted to get in, but they were forced to pull back. We saw companies pull back. We saw a lot of the blockchains who at first were puffing up their chests. Oh, we're so great. We're so powerful. We're going to do this. We're going to change the world. Even they fell back, right? They had to lean back. They had to lean back like Fat Joe. They got quiet. So, but that was then. We're not in the dark ages anymore. So now it's time for all that relevant information to be brought back. Facts. And so, like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. Give it a year and a half. You're going to start to see, I believe, not financial advice, it's my humble opinion, you're going to start to see fireworks. Everybody got in this. Don't get me wrong. They want to utilize the technology, but the technology is only what leads to more value. That's it. Every company's looking at it like this. The technology is just a gateway to more value, more capital, and they all want it. That's why they're all of these major companies are on Hedera's board. This is why Ripple's able to walk into so many meetings, shake hands, and walk out smiling. That's why. Charles Hoskinson knows that also. This is why he can talk so confidently about what's going to happen, because the opportunities are there now that weren't there before. Golden age coming. And it's funny in life, if you look at his history and a lot of the cultures that document historical cycles, they talk about that, how things go from a dark age to a golden age. It's like golden age, silver age, bronze age, iron age, which the iron age is like the dark ages, iron age, and then it goes back to a golden age. And it's kind of like what we're seeing in crypto. We're going from a dark age to a golden age, in my humble opinion. Watch out for this activity. And the more and more that Hoskinson and people like this get excited, and you're hearing them say bullish things about who they're working with and what they intend to do in the future, it shows you something is happening behind the scenes. They're not approaching this with this type of excitement and zeal for nothing. No, something happened. There was a catalyst. It was a catalyst. You wake up, you find this piece of candy in your pocket. You thought you didn't even know you had it, but you had that desire for some sweet candy. Pop that in your mouth, eat it. Now you're walking around the rest of the day happy. You're like, what is it? What are you talking about, mate? It's an example of other people might not know why you're walking around happy. It might not be something major. Maybe it is something major. Irregardless, they don't know why you're happy, but it was that piece of candy. It is a catalyst for everything. So you got Garlinghouse talking hot and spicy. You have Cardano. You have Charles Hoskinson talking hot and spicy. You have Hedera is constantly doing something. And what's crazy about that is his people are so quiet about Hedera. H-bar. I don't know why. They're not small. There's nothing small. I'm going to leave you with that on that one there. Let's go here. All right. Watch Hoskinson. Watch his excitement around working with Ripple. They're cooking something up. Hey, and that could be a major, major catalyst. Here's the thing. Now that he's involved, there's the possibility that if ever he comes out with major information and a major announcement and says, hey, we have this partnership, you never know. Is that a joint partnership with whatever company you just established that with, and also Ripple's involved? We don't know, but it's something, it's food for thought. It's food for thought. I'm definitely going to be paying attention for sure, because now I know there's a possibility, unless they're openly going to tell us on day one that they actually start working on a project together, which I don't think they will. Ripple doesn't operate like that. They don't. They keep a lot of things quiet until they want you to know. They're not preemptive is what I'm saying. So that could be a catalyst. If you hear something from Cardano, both of their prices could begin moving similarly in the future when utility coins break away from Bitcoin. And I believe that is going to happen. Just not happening now, because Bitcoin is set up right now, in my humble opinion, to explode at some point soon, maybe a few times. I think it has a few times in it. I do. So maybe not right now, but they will break away from Bitcoin in the future. There's no way they don't. That utility kicks in. The interest will be there for people to just make money off of utility coins outright. There's just too many catalysts. Those prices, in my humble opinion, once more, not financial advice, those prices are going to skyrocket. Nothing's going to be able to hold it down. Nothing. And no one can predict how high it's going to go. It's up to you. It's up to you. So now, we talked a lot about, we talked so much about the bank coins, and I use XRP as a representative for all the bank coins because all their use cases are so similar, right? But this article here says this, okay? What will happen to XRP price after SEC closed door meeting? I'm not really concerned. I'm not concerned with it at all. I have an idea how, that, let me not get too specific. But these prices here, any little uptick in price, if people actually hear it from the SEC's mouth, like, everything's in the clear, Ripple's in the clear, XRP's in the clear, even though Garlinghouse already told everybody, but I don't know. People want to hear it from the SEC, I suppose. But any little uptick in price doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just being honest with you. It doesn't mean anything to me because I feel like I know the potential of XRP and is way above where this is. And people are going to scoff. Yes, they're going to say no, nay. Oh, I don't believe in Mick. Oh, it's crazy, Mick. I've heard it all. That's what they were saying when XRP was 60 cents, 55 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents, $1. It was never going to do what, according to many people, what it is, where it's at right now. It was never supposed to make it here. But I believed. So am I to stop believing in my own thinking now? I think that would be unwise, right? And I believe myself to be a little bit more erudite than that, right? I believe I'm using that word correctly, erudite, right? So it says here, as XRP teeters just above $2 mark, all eyes are now turning to the US SEC closed meeting set for April the 3rd. The gathering will address legal and enforcement matters, could have major implications for Ripple Labs and its digital asset XRP, especially investors brace for either a regulatory green light or further uncertainty. Nope. They already got the green light. Didn't they already lay out everything that's happening? Even a fine and all of that they're going to be paying? Didn't Stuart Alderati, the lawyer, talk about this? So I don't understand that. How that's not already priced in. It's just the markets are just stagnating for a little bit. This always happens. The markets are doing what the markets usually do. That's it. It's nothing new. And a utility run is not here yet. That's what really is going to move XRP's price, period. Regular cross-border payments, B2B, payroll. Nobody's thinking about that. Payroll, RWA. I'm trying to think of what else. That's the ones I can think of off the top of my head right now. But that's what's going to make those prices explode. Those are the major catalysts. Oh, interbank payments. I know, how did I forget that, right? Woo! Interbank payments. Did you take a look at the financials on these banks this year? Don't worry. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to go over it little by little, one step at a time. But did you take a look? Right. Did you look at how much they're moving? I think I showed just a little bit of it in a recent video, little bit of that, about how much value they were moving per year. We didn't get into the specifics of it, like day to day, month to month, week to week, like we used to. At some point in the future, we'll get there. OK, so now, while we have a little bit of time, and so I'm not squeezing the Bitcoin news in each video, because I have so much to say about these bank coins. I do. This article is titled, listen to this, Bitcoin's quote unquote digital gold claim challenged. Really? I've been telling people it's just a moneymaker for years. Haven't I been saying it? Bitcoin is a moneymaker. Gold is gold. If you store a value, gold is gold. There's something else I have to say about gold also. I have an article about gold. Maybe I don't know if I'm going to fit it in this video or not. But Bitcoin is a moneymaker. I wouldn't store capital in Bitcoin long term, to be honest. Once I get to a satisfactory price, I'm selling. I'm going to get out of there. Because it can also correct severely and you can lose a massive amount of capital. And there's never a guarantee things are going to go back up. Like, even though more than likely it would, I wouldn't take that chance. I'm not taking that chance. I'm not. Just in my humble opinion. To each his own. But no, it's not digital gold. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. I never saw the need to compare it to anything else. I don't have a comparative mind. I don't exist that way. That's a painful way to exist. No, how can I say this? I am me. That's it. That's the way I can put it. I am me. That's it. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. You're you. There's no need to compare. I do what I do. Bitcoin does what it does. You do what you do. That's how I look at life. Does that make sense? When you compare things, oftentimes you're going to be disappointed. It causes a lot of chaos. It causes a lot of friction. And that does not need to exist. It doesn't. So anyway, here, let's go here. It says Bitcoin's safe haven ambitions face a major market test as investors seek shelter in gold and bonds. You don't say. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I tell people the best that I can, and they're loving it in gold. As gold is predicted, I just don't see any other way gold is not. Gold is going to go up more, especially given the geopolitical conditions of today. Are you seeing what's going on? One of my people just informed me of what's going on. I was like, gold is going to stay where it's at. Gold is going up further then. April 2nd is shaping up to be a pivotal moment in global trade policy. Oh, they're talking about all this stuff going back and forth. These countries are pressing each other financially. Markets reacted negatively over the past week with the S&P 500 dropping 3.5%, while the NASDAQ 100 slid 5%, underscoring investor anxiety. They like to paint people as weak if you make some moves. It's anxiety. I don't like that. I don't like that phrasing. It's a pet peeve of mine. You can explain it just by saying that maybe they're cautious. Give them a little bit more respect. They're like, no, you have anxiety, making it sound weak. No, we don't. People are not weak. We're not weak. We're strong. Excuse my language. We're strong as hell. Strong as ever. Anxiety. We don't have any anxieties. People are cautious. They're smart. You don't want to say that, do you? Right. People don't like to give compliments. They don't. Well, I can. The people are, I don't know anyone who's not smart, intelligent, making good moves. So keep doing that. But anyway, investor anxiety. At the same time, understand, in my mind, what I've experienced in life and what I've seen, there's not a lot of people strong enough to build. There's not a lot of people strong enough to be positive and build each other up. There's not. Most people, they err on this like negative, weak side, where they just tear everything else down so they appear to be up. You're only up by appearance. I like to actually be up, build those around me. If I can't build those around me, I'm not going to be around anyone. At the same time, gold surged 4%. Really? I love gold. This is what I love gold. I trust gold the most. Reaching a record high that most people said, Alpha Middle never reached that. Reaching a record high above $3,150 per ounce. Sometimes it's about seeing what's there, folks. Like I said, you see all these banks buying up the gold, even when their selling doesn't offset it. Buying up the gold, businesses are getting into gold, people are getting into gold. Businesses are selling gold to retail like never before. You're seeing influencers show off their gold bar collections, which is not wise, by the way. Showing off is not wise because them folks will come get you. All right. They'll be knocking at your door like a DMX skit. It's me. It's Mickey. They'll be knocking on your door. Don't do that. Showing off. It's better to appear to have nothing than to appear to have a lot. I like to be safe in life. I'm just saying. The yield on the 10-year treasury dropped to 4.2%, even as recent inflation data showed an uptick in some of the core components. The markets is a classic sign of a risk-off environment, one that often precedes economic contraction. Throughout the volatility, Bitcoin at $82,405, let me be specific, in the red, dropped 6%, relatively modest compared to its historical volatility, but this does not make it a reliable hedge just yet. I don't care about it being a hedge. Like I'm different than others, I suppose. Because I never looked at it like that, ever. Bitcoin's a moneymaker, and I believe, and I only speak for myself, Bitcoin's going to make a lot more. It's already made a lot of money for people. It's going to make a lot more money for people. It's undeniable, in my humble opinion. Unequivocally, it's going to skyrocket. Because although its growing role as a reserve asset suggests this could shift over time. Well, we have to see. It depends on who's controlling Bitcoin, which as of now, as we're seeing, is appearing to be very controllable if put into the right hands. And could they stabilize it? Yes. Will they do that? I don't know about that. I don't know. Have we seen stability from the world powers at any point? You tell me. All right, so now that you have the information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.